Yeah.
It reminds me of the Red Bull Stratus jump. Like it's like that picture was taken just at that moment.
Whatever happened to that guy? Like Felix, like he had his 1 minute of fame, and Felix Baumgartner, that's what his name was.
I think the rest of his life is now just going to be spent going around various bars and telling people, yes, I was the guy who jumped from the edge of space, and accepting the free drinks he gets bought.
Hey man, I'd do that. That sounds like a pretty good life. You know what else is pretty good here? A PVT. One of the matches we haven't cast yet.
I know. That leaves just a TVT, which I don't believe we can get, unfortunately. So,
Bad.
would you like to introduce these two players, Beef?
You know what? We'll split it.
Split it right down the middle.
There we go. In the top center location, the 12 o'clock position here on Metropolis. We do have the yellow Terran yet to drop a map so far in this qualifier. It's not the U.S. commander in the Pacific Ocean in the 1940s, but his name is still Nimitz. That was awful. That was awful. Not a lot of people are going to get that because there's not a whole lot of Americans watching this cast.
I got it as an
go.
Englishman. I did get what you were going for a reference for, but his opponent in the left position as the blue Terran player we do have for Team Druids, it is Kev. I like Kev. Do you know why I like Kev? Because as a caster, nothing is more concerning than when you get a player whose name you're not quite sure how to pronounce.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you can't really go wrong with Kev.
As I mentioned, I cast quite a bit, and sometimes I'll get teams like, at least in Heroes of Newark, Sweden is gigantic in that scene. About half of the major teams are Swedish. And oftentimes they will have very Swedish names, and I will have absolutely no clue how to pronounce them. So I end up making up names for them.
Just like, well, in StarCraft, of course, you get barcodes.
Yeah.
I actually have a personal thing that I won't cast barcode people on my YouTube channel just because I hate referring to people as just like the Zerg or
Yeah.
the Red Zerg. It's just, it ruins the personal point of it, I think. But they obviously have to do it to hide their secret strategies and stuff.
That's what happens when replays are available for everyone, man. They just want to hide. Now, going up with this Protoss versus Terran here on Metropolis, we are in close positions now, and DruidzKev might take the opportunity to try to do a little bit of drop harassment with the very short flying distance between these two bases.
Yeah, drops are huge on this map. One of the other really cool builds which you can do is go for a really big commitment to Cloak Banshee is also a nice little thing you can attempt, but it's a bit risky. Otherwise, for Nimitz, he's just got to be a little bit careful. He's got to really just try and identify, and I love this at the moment, the bunker coming down, but the command center being built up in the main. I think that's the right choice, just to make sure you're safe against any super early aggression.
It also adds some mind games here. I mean, well, we know that there's the command center being built up there. The bunker going to provide some air of mystery for all that Nimitz knows. If he pokes in that front door with a stalker, there could be a bunker there and nothing behind it. If he tries to run by right, like, you know, in a minute here, in like 30 seconds, and sees no command center on the low ground, he's going to be like, holy crap, this is a feint. There's actually no command center coming. This is a 1-1-1. I'm so scared.
Exactly, 1-1-1 is one of the most terrifying things a Protoss player can ever see in Wings of Liberty. And I've just thought, do you know what we haven't seen today? Oh, hang on, the Zeta coming in, and the Stalker does push forward, gets to see if the command center was there or not, but the Stalker gets away barely, and that is a big risk to take. But Nimitz desperately wanted to see if the command center was down, and because he doesn't see it, is he going to overreact and panic?
That's exactly what I'm just talking about right there. The mind game's coming in and will throw down 2 additional gateways. Going to start producing some sentries, so committing to the sentries now. I wouldn't say this is an overcommittal, but definitely going to have to play it safe and not take too many risks right now because he's not sure if his opponent's expanding.
But Kev is indeed taking his orbital command now down to the natural base. He's going to land it up. He's getting his tech lab on the barracks. Stim likely to start very shortly. The robotic facility on its way for Nimitz. But the one thing I haven't seen tonight, which I really hope someone was going to do, is that no one has done a heart rally on Valentine's Day.
Oh, a heart rally point like Huck.
Yeah.
Yeah, sad days.
I almost wish I could do it, like, just quickly.
Yeah,
Maybe the finalists, when they win, will do it. That would be awesome.
there you go.
I can hope. I can live in hope. That's all I want is a nice little heart. But no, what we've got coming down now is, of course, that rowboat. The Stalkers adequately setting up for a drop defense, worried about maybe some drop play coming in, because, of course, still unbeknown.
And, well, he will know about it eventually here. The robotics facility after the third gateway immediately going to chrono boost out an observer. And DruidzKev should know the timing for this one. Might try to scout it out with Marines and land a lucky scan, a skillful scan even, and try to bring home that observer's dead body. But the observer going to be the first peek into the base here and see if he's actually being 111'd or not. This is about the timing that 111 would be moving out. And so the Stalker's already moving out, trying to take some map control themselves and delay any possible push, but not going to find anything.
And that is because nothing is coming. Kev has just been getting a good supply income. He's got Stim, 2/3 done, got +1 ground weapons on its way out. The factory now just completed. The Observer, though, seeing it all, seeing the starport coming down. But this is just really standard play out of Kev and Nimitz.
Yeah, nothing too wonky just yet. Very nice scouting with this Observer. Was able to get all that information, like you said, and will indeed see that the reactor's coming down here on the factory, just going to be producing medevacs, no tanks, nothing funky coming out. And Nimitz now going to be able to react by throwing down a robotics bay. Going to be starting to tech into that Colossus and add that oh so important splash damage.
Now the concern is just going to be, what if Kev decides to move out with Marine Marauder, 2 medevacs, and that +1? There may be 1 Colossus out, but that will be it. And that is a very nice little timing push that a lot of Terrans can go for. So that is what I would be really worried about if I was Nimitz and want to be keeping an eye on. And his Observer is going to have to make sure that he does spot that. There are 2 out in the field though, so he will see if that moves out very early on.
And with those observers, we'll be able to react appropriately by cutting probe production, making sure to drop another gateway, something like that, and just making sure to warp in units.
And here it goes.
Yep.
Just as I thought, that little timing push is on its way across. But the observers have now seen it. Probe production stopped. The first Colossus is on its way. Stalker's getting warped in. But is Nimitz going to be able to hold?
Unfortunately, only 1 chrono boost available right now, as the rest had been used on various structures, and the Marines, Marauder, and the Medevac's going to be hitting the front door. 1 stimming down to the 3rd is Force Field's going to come in. Protoss player trying to buy some more time as Nimitz actually, well, he spotted the load up right there. I think that was an unintentional load up there by DruidzKev. Now loading up a second set and going to start to unload. Nimitz still trying to buy time for that Colossus. Extended Thermal Lance going to be on the way, but not going to be in time. The first Colossus is going to finish right now.
Now, of course, that Colossus, if it's microed well, will be able to do a lot of damage, but with that extended thermal lance, it isn't going to outrange those Marauders. But we see now some good starter step micro, some good stim usage out of Kev for the time being. He's demolishing that gateway force, but the Colossus is going to be able to clean up all of this push, and Nimitz is going to hold.
And Nimitz actually comes out in a beautiful way right here. But there are some units coming over. There is a drop in the main now, trying to do some damage as the rest of the units from our Terran player DruidzKev are falling back. But right now, this drop doing a little bit of damage was in fact able to kill 5 workers. How about that?
Yep, 5 workers, better than nothing, of course, and it does also keep Nimitz pinged back. That gives Kev time to macro behind that, and so a big counter push wouldn't be too damaging. So I think all in all, Kev played that well. Nimitz defended it well as well, though.
He did indeed. DruidzKev unloading all of his units now over at the 3rd. Actually just going to drop 1 Marine to try to spot for when this 3rd might be coming down, but back at home, DruidzKev continuing to macro up. He's dropped the armory, going to try to get his upgrades going once again, and dropping that 3rd CC. So going to try to expand and just keep on macroing.
The factory does unfortunately fall, and I don't know, if I take a quick look up here, there is only the single starport down. That is actually a bit of a problem. That means no additional starports are going to be able to be produced. Should Nimitz highly commit to those Colossi, Kev is going to have to be very careful in his usage of Vikings and how many he gets out precisely, because medevac wise he is on 5, but if he starts losing them, he's gonna have to start making some tough choices.
He will indeed. Right now with the 5 medevacs, not gonna be able to heal up a huge amount of army, but like you said, he wants to be able to commit to those Vikings to deal with the Colossi, and it's gonna be really clutch here from Nimitz whenever he decides to switch up his tech, start going that Templar route, and that's going to be a big pivoting point in the game of trying to catch your opponent off guard and switching up your splash tech. But right now, moving out across the map with 3 Colossi and going to be trying to hit a timing here.
3 Colossi is, of course, the money moment. It's where you start dealing huge amounts of damage, and it becomes quite important to get those good Viking engagements. But as we see some Stalkers sacrificing themselves, trying to get a Viking, but does not manage to do so. That is very frustrating for Nimitz there, and he's going to have to pull back. A lovely scan from Kev gets an exact read on what his opponent's got.
That scan hitting pretty well, and unfortunately, even that one Stalker that was sacrificed wasn't able to buy a Viking with his life, saying, I guess it wasn't worth that much. Gonna engage once more. Good blink back, though, and the Stalkers will be recovered. A big stim coming out of DruidzKev, but turning around to engage right now is Nimitz. The Colossi raining down laser hell on all this infantry, but the Gateway Army in front just a little bit too strong, and DruidzKev not able to punch a hole just yet. The stim wearing off, and once again, these 4 medevacs up in the air, not able to heal up just that fast, but there's a drop coming in over at the third.
The third drop is, of course, doing a lot of damage here. A small warping, but we see down at the natural of Kev that Nimitz is starting to move in. He is doing a good amount of damage there. He is able to clear out the majority of this infantry force. The gateway units tanking up. The 3 Colossi staying alive perfectly. Only 1 Viking does remain. And I think with this, Nimitz should be able to push through. And there's very little that Kev is going to be able to finish with. But those additional 2 Vikings are able to take out 2 Colossi, but with 1 more coming in as a reinforcement, the Stalkers really need to focus on the Viking, and there is a brilliant blink.
Gets the last Viking. Just kidding. 1 more Viking is coming in right here. SCV is being pulled off the line, going to come in and try to thwart this Protoss attempt to break down the front door. Will be able to put a stop to it for now, but back home, Nimitz. Let's take a look at his probe count. 62 to 73, falling behind slightly in economy, and had to use a lot of warpins back home, so the Gateway Army surrounding his 1 last Colossus still relatively paltry.
Indeed, that 1 single Colossus is so important right now. The Stalkers moving forward, they need to focus down the Vikings. That was the only thing that perhaps Nimitz wasn't doing perfectly in that previous engagement. Allowed a couple of the Colossi to fall, but to be honest, if we look at the loss tab at the moment, Kev has lost a lot more resources than his opponent. This third base has now got Zealots running in through it as well, but these Zealots apparently do not want to kill anything. They're just happy running around. But now, going in, we do see above this though, Kev is pulling his units back down, trying to defend. The Zealots are going to get cleaned up, but all the map control is in Nimitz's court right now.
It is indeed, and Nimitz looking pretty good in that respect. He's mining heavily back home. 69 workers actually coming out right now, continuing his Colossi production. Still not looking for that transition into the Templars, though. Do you think he's perhaps waiting a little bit too long on this, or should he be comfortable on Colossi?
Considering the fact that Nimitz most likely feels he's ahead, having picked off all of the Vikings previously and reset the Viking count, he's trying to just get the maximum use out of those Colossus, in my opinion. And while that's fine for now, because his opponent is just sitting there on 1 starport, he does need to start thinking about that switch at some point, especially as the Viking numbers continue to increase.
Well, the Viking numbers not actually increasing right now, as medevac production is back in full swing on DruidzKev's side of the base. And Stalker is going to be coming up once again, using their high mobility to try to get something done. DruidzKev actually predicting the Templar switch and already starting to produce ghosts now, 4 at a time. Personal cloaking on the way, as is 3-3 up in the air, and Terran ship weapons level 2.
Terran ship weapons level 2 is going to be a very important moment for Kev. It's where those Vikings will start shredding through the Colossi very easily. Ghost Academy is already done, and with the first 4 ghosts coming out, this Templar Archives that has only just started now is going to be very, very late to the party. But we see here...
Stalker's trying to take a little damage right there. Snipe off a medevac, though. Gonna be able to pick off a couple of ghosts as well, and might even be able to get a total of 4 ghosts right here. Depends on how aggressive they want to blink. Oh, man! Sniping off 2 additional Vikings. The Stalker hit squad.
Those Stalkers are like part of the Marine Corps or something. They were absolutely brilliant there. Getting off those ghosts, getting off the Vikings as well. Definitely worthwhile. And I don't even think 1 maybe went down at most. So... definitely Nimitz using those effectively, and he has been all game for the time being. So hopefully we're going to see this continue to go into Nimitz's favor. Kev, though, he's got his third base up and running. He's sitting quite comfortably at 71 to the 74 workers of Nimitz, so with mules, levels it out quite heavily. And upgrade-wise, he's also not in a bad shape. He's got the 3-3 upgrades against the 2-3 upgrades for Nimitz.
Now, Nimitz going to be making his way over here once again, very close to that maxed out army, and looking to make the engagement happen as soon as possible. He's taking a fourth behind this, not wanting to get too all in, but trying to hit the fourth, which is being morphed into a planetary fortress. Even going to manage to snipe off one more medevac. Nope, not going to be able to just yet. Here's the engagement, though. Colossi going to be pounding in from the back. And there's the big stem up, trying to kite back right here. The Vikings not able to get enough work done right there. EMP's blanketing all these stalkers, though. And the Gateway Army crumbling. This Vikings still trying to bring down the Colossi. There's still 4 up, though. And everything on the ground right now from Terran is dead. There's the big offensive blink up. And DruidzKev drowned to just 100 supply. Gonna have to fall back and wait for reinforcements while the warping of Zealots has already been warped in.
Those Colossi just weren't killed quickly enough by the Vikings, and as such, this third base of Kev is looking to be besieged. We've got the Zealots charging in, tanking up a lot of the damage, but Nimitz not wanting to overcommit, trying to get into a safer spot. He's only got a few Stalkers left, and the Vikings are chipping away, but there, Kev, with the absolutely amazingly well played. GG, Nimitz takes game 1.